You have been told your entire life that human vision is a biological miracle. You think your complex eyes intimately show you the true, objective universe perfectly. You deeply believe the beautiful colors you brightly see are all that exist. You strongly assume our massive intelligence makes our visual perception the biological pinnacle. You wrongly believe wild animals are entirely blind to the true beauty. But the cold, terrifying truth is much more unsettling and wildly mind-bending. Look closely at the incredibly vibrant, deeply colorful natural world living around you. The absolutely humbling truth is that you are completely blind to reality. Wild animals clearly see incredibly bright colors and hidden patterns invisible to humans. Your specific biological ability to clearly see a bright red apple is subjective. It is an incredibly tiny, restricted evolutionary mechanism designed strictly for your survival. You only accurately see the exact colors that kept your ancient ancestors alive. This is absolutely not a beautiful romantic theory or a crazy science fiction. It is a strictly documented, deeply studied, and scientifically proven ancient sensory reality. Scientists correctly and accurately call this fascinating field comparative evolutionary sensory biology. They have recently discovered something completely mind-blowing about wild animal natural perception. Wild animals are absolutely not looking at the exact physical world you observe. They are actively living in completely different, highly customized, perfectly filtered visual dimensions. Let us safely dive into the incredibly small, fast-paced, wildly complex insect world. Consider the incredibly tiny, highly social, absolutely vital ancient wild European honeybee. For a very long time, arrogant scientists incorrectly assumed bees saw simple flowers. We falsely assumed they just blindly flew around looking strictly for red petals. We wrongly thought they reacted purely on basic survival instinct to gather nectar. But brilliant entomologists studying complex insect vision carefully discovered something absolutely incredible. When a highly intelligent, rapidly buzzing bee gracefully flies over a beautiful meadow, it is absolutely not looking at the boring, flat colors a human sees. The tiny bee's incredibly complex eyes are highly sensitive to invisible ultraviolet light. To a completely normal human eye, a common yellow dandelion strictly looks yellow, but to a rapidly flying, intimately busy honeybee, that exact flower looks different. The beautiful flower has massive, glowing ultraviolet rings radiating brightly from the center. It literally looks exactly like a bright, glowing neon landing pad hidden safely. The brilliant flowers are actively painting invisible, glowing arrows to guide the bees. This highly complex, completely invisible visual communication is utterly useless for walking humans. It absolutely proves that the beautiful flowers you heavily buy were never yours. They were specifically designed by brutal evolution to communicate secretly with flying insects. The bee is actively seeing a completely hidden, profoundly secret layer of reality. They are highly intelligent enough to safely navigate using incredibly bright unknown colors. This completely shatters the deeply arrogant idea that human vision is the standard. The beautiful bee is actively experiencing a completely different, incredibly beautiful visual reality. But tiny insects are absolutely not the only complex animals that exhibit supervision. Let us safely move from the bright, sunny, green meadow to the coral. Look closely at the incredibly aggressive, highly armored, deeply strange, beautiful mantis shrimp. Marine biologists have carefully studied the incredibly complex alien eyes of this crustacean. They brilliantly discovered the aggressive mantis shrimp possesses the most advanced visual system. It is the absolute most advanced, highly complicated biological eye on the planet. In the incredibly limited human eye, we only strictly have 3 color-receptive cells. We carefully use these 3 very simple biological cells to distinctly see colors. But when scientists carefully study the complex, alien eyes of the adapted shrimp, they deeply discover this bizarre animal has a massive 16 different color-receptive cells. The incredibly powerful mantis shrimp does not just selectively see simple reef colors. It flawlessly sees tens of thousands of deeply complex colors. Humans do not. It can easily intensely see the completely invisible, beautifully swirling patterns of polarized. It can clearly see the exact, invisible chemical composition of the flowing water. This massive, incredibly intense visual power requires a huge amount of brain energy. The mantis shrimp heavily dedicates a massive portion of its entire brain processing. It perfectly uses this incredible supervision to fiercely hunt fast tropical prey. This amazing study scientifically proves that objective visual reality is completely highly flexible. It is absolutely not a rigid, unchanging painting beautifully created for human observation. It is a wildly chaotic, completely terrifying spectrum of massive radiation animals filter. This completely terrifying realization brings us directly back to the wide African savanna. Consider the incredibly fast, highly alert, deeply sensitive wild prey animals like zebras. Biologists have carefully studied the incredibly complex visual biological defense mechanisms of animals. They brilliantly discovered that a wild zebra absolutely does not distinctly see vibrance. Their ancient, highly specialized mammalian eyes are specifically designed to rapidly detect movements. They completely biologically heavily sacrifice the amazing ability to clearly see beautiful colors. They completely give up rich color vision just so they clearly see lions. When a highly terrified, deeply anxious wild zebra safely looks at a sunset, it completely absolutely does not cleanly see the incredible, totally beautiful pink skies. It only perfectly actively, safely heavily sees the sharp, highly contrasted dark shadows. It violently scans the incredibly deep brush for the completely terrifying waiting predators. The incredibly alert wild zebra is actively, biologically aggressively choosing to blindly see. It absolutely chooses to safely see a much duller, incredibly terrifying dark world. A heavily restricted visual spectrum is absolutely not just a random eye quirk. It is a highly profound, biological way of trying to process terrifying universes. It is a strictly ancient, biological way of shutting down when danger approaches. When the terrifying physical danger is simply incredibly, entirely too massive to bear, but the incredible, dark depth of this ancient vision completely incredibly goes deeper. We must carefully, critically examine the terrifying evolutionary purpose of this crushing limitation. Why would brutal biology create such an incredibly massive, potentially fatal visual vulnerability? If absolute natural selection purely strongly favors the strong, why allow color blindness? Why does the brilliant, massive wild zebra risk absolute dullness to fiercely survive? Why does the highly intelligent captive mantis shrimp heavily, powerfully process rainbow colors? The shocking biological answer completely radically redefines our deeply held beliefs about survival. Color vision is the terrible, beautiful biological price we must completely pay today. To safely, perfectly form incredibly strong, highly resilient families, you need visual glue. You desperately biologically need an intensely powerful, colorful emotion to perfectly bind tribes. That incredibly ancient, highly powerful, deeply profound biological visual glue is exactly love. Love strictly ensures that a fierce mother perfectly violently protects completely vulnerable offspring. It beautifully ensures that a massive noisy flock stays perfectly, safely grouped tightly. But this incredible biological, emotional, visual superpower deeply comes with a dangerous vulnerability. If beautiful visual love completely strongly binds the mind, absolute darkness rips it. You completely biologically cannot easily have bright, beautiful color without completely risking shadows. The intense psychological, overwhelming, crushing pain of blindness is the absolute mirror love. It is the dark, incredibly heavy, massive shadow cast by deep emotional connection. Without this terrifying emotional shadow, the ancient survival bonds would be completely weak. This brings us to the most incredible, highly profound compassion pivot perfectly today. So why exactly does any of this actually profoundly matter to your life? Why should you ever really care if a mantis shrimp sees 1,000? Because it completely violently and utterly brilliantly shatters the arrogant illusion of superiority. You have strongly always falsely believed that your complex human vision makes invincible. You wrongly thought your amazing, deep ability to feel existential visual beauty unique. You wrongly, arrogantly assumed your profound clinical vision isolated you from wild animals. But wild, brilliant, deeply sensitive nature has actively experienced psychological visual pain millions, long completely beautifully before early ancient humans ever perfectly painted beautiful cave walls. Giant majestic bees were quietly, violently, brilliantly navigating completely invisible, beautiful glowing floral. Colorful, beautiful parrots were desperately, violently ripping out beautiful feathers in dark canopies. Massive, powerful shrimp were actively, stubbornly striking fast, vibrant prey from pure heartbreak, your specific, highly medicalized, incredibly deep human capacity for severe clinical color vision. It is completely biologically just the very latest evolutionary version of visual survival. You are absolutely not perfectly above the wild, incredibly mysterious, highly emotional world. You are deeply, tragically, perfectly, and beautifully fully entangled within its ancient psychological. Your intense, overwhelming biological desire to completely rapidly, clearly, vividly, perfectly, quickly understand. Your desperate, primal biological need to completely, rapidly, tightly, safely, confidently, correctly know. The amazing, profound biological ability to perfectly see crushing clinical, beautiful color weakness. It is absolutely, perfectly not a shameful, broken defect in incredibly massive biology. It is the ultimate beautiful biological proof that you are completely capable connection to safely, perfectly, intimately, vividly, securely, comfortably, easily, accurately feel the terrifying weight. You must absolutely first completely, intimately, deeply possess the incredible capacity to clearly. Color is the terrible, beautiful, massive biological price for the ancient, profound gift. The very next time you closely, safely feel the dark, heavy, massive cloud, when you painfully, intimately feel the terrible heavy weight settling over modern minds, do not just violently, angrily, rigidly, violently, intensely, purely, quickly, brightly, boldly fight. Do not just angrily, critically, deeply, purely, fiercely, totally, strictly, broadly, powerfully think. Listen closely to the deep, massive, incredible, ancient evolutionary history echoing inside eyes. Think carefully, perfectly, quietly about the deeply terrified zebra and the brilliantly seeing. Listen quietly, perfectly to the ancient, profound, primal biological need for social bonds. We are perfectly, biologically, all just extremely small, incredibly scared animals surviving bravely. We are bravely, intimately trying to incredibly survive a completely beautiful, physical world. Vision is absolutely, perfectly not the ultimate final proof of wildly broken psychology. It is the incredibly ultimate, beautiful biological proof that we truly care deeply. We perfectly, intimately, powerfully, safely, softly, firmly, broadly, solidly, brightly, absolutely, boldly share. We deeply, fiercely, completely, safely, quickly, strongly, solidly, widely, gracefully, purely, strictly, fully. We are deeply, perfectly, solidly, quietly, bravely, intensely, fiercely, fully, purely, entirely, completely. We are completely, beautifully, intimately, tightly, securely, safely, gracefully, boldly, clearly, simply, naturally. This is the true, deeply biological, physical, sensory, evolutionary, totally fundamental, perfectly beautiful. Every single tear shed is an ancient testament to absolute, overwhelming, brightly beautiful. We literally cannot smoothly, beautifully, completely safely, warmly, gracefully, quickly survive freezing darkness if this terrifying, beautiful, highly biological, wildly emotional truth deeply, radically, intimately resonates. Please make sure to bravely, carefully, heavily, intimately, cleanly, smoothly, effectively, gracefully leave. Join our rapidly, powerfully, incredibly, deeply, wonderfully, strongly, heavily, clearly, safely, perfectly growing. Please carefully, successfully, happily, actively, closely, properly, easily, gracefully, kindly, warmly, securely share. Tell us exactly, simply, completely, thoroughly, accurately, precisely, openly, strongly, bravely, confidently comments. Thank you for bravely taking the time to completely, deeply, strictly, warmly, gently, and deeply, gracefully, profoundly, beautifully, heavily, strictly, perfectly embrace the perfectly terrible beauty. The terrifying dark shadows represent a chaotic, dangerous, unpredictable physical universe entirely. Every dark shadow moving smoothly in the dry grass is a massive threat. The ancient biological need to survive drastically outweighs the human desire beauty. This incredibly powerful choice perfectly demonstrates the crushing weight of pure survival. Zebras willingly abandon rich, colorful reality just to live another terrifying day. This heavy, terrifying biological reality perfectly mirrors the massive visual compromises made. Our complex human brains violently, aggressively filter out portions of daily reality. We naturally, easily ignore incredibly massive amounts of beautiful visual data constantly. We safely ignore tiny glowing insects and massive, beautiful, swirling, colorful patterns. Our limited human eyes easily, comfortably evolved to safely hunt simple prey. We are biologically trapped inside a tiny, simple, perfectly customized visual bubble. This incredibly profound biological limitation completely, deeply, intimately connects us to animals. We seamlessly, closely, solidly, clearly, elegantly share a terrifyingly restricted visual reality. Our arrogant belief in absolute, perfect human visual superiority is massive delusion. We must deeply, bravely, safely, completely, actively, quickly, clearly abandon visual arrogance. To truly, effectively, safely, properly, highly appreciate the profound depth animal sentience, we incredibly, gracefully, cleanly, properly, safely, accurately, strongly, completely, fully embrace limitations. When you beautifully, proudly, confidently, completely, proudly, easily, naturally, gracefully step outside, do not arrogantly, heavily, blindly, falsely, foolishly, casually, completely, forcefully, comfortably look. Realize that the beautiful, bright, green, glowing leaves warmly, safely, easily radiate. The completely beautiful, massive, ancient universe naturally, powerfully, fully, gently operates invisibly. We simply, completely, entirely, successfully, beautifully, naturally, absolutely, strictly, directly, gracefully share. Our ancient, powerful, deep, complex, shared visual blindness successfully, strongly binds everyone.